Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, subscribe down below. That way you can stay posted with all my videos. I'm gonna be making a video on what it's like to work on a rig, the positions that entails on a rig, and what they do on a daily basis. And this is not 100% accurate. This is just my personal opinion. So basically, on a drilling rig, you have quite a few positions, and I'm gonna list these from the bottom of the totem pole to the top. The floor hand is at the bottom, right? So you got your floor hand, then you have your motor man, your derrick hand comes next, then it's your driller, and above the driller is your tool pusher or the rig manager. Now, talking a little bit more about the positions, a floor hand, they're in charge of the rig floor when it comes to drilling operations, and I'll go ahead and talk about other rig operations maybe in a possible next video, but for now I'm just going to stick to what they do. Now, floor hand, basically they're in charge of the rig floor. They're in charge of cleaning, scrubbing, painting, pressure washing on a daily basis if things are slow. Now, if there's something that needs to be done, your driller, which is in charge of the whole crew, the driller's in charge of the floor hand, the motor man, and the derrick hand. So he's in charge of typically a 5 or 6 man crew. If there's a 6-man crew, that 6th person is typically the pit hand or an extra floor hand. Now the pit man basically assists the derrick man at the pits with any other duties that need to be done, like cleaning, chemical mixing, mud transfers, making sure that the shakers aren't overflowing, things like that. So typically it's a 5 or 6-man crew. Could be less, could be 4-man crew if you're working on a workover rig or something like that. But typically on a drilling rig, that's a triple. And what a triple means, it's the derrick can hold 3 singles. So that's a triple. So the floor hand, again, in charge of cleaning, scrubbing, pressure washing, painting the rig floor. If there's a rig move that needs to be done, you move the whole rig, and you're in charge of helping everybody out. So you're in charge of helping the motor man out, the derrick hand out, and the driller. What they say needs to be done, and there's no questions asked. You can suggest something. You can possibly say, hey, what if we try this? But for the most part, you're there to take orders, get the job done safely and efficiently. You're also in charge of making connections on the rig floor, making stands on the mouse hole, strapping pipe. You'll be in charge of pipe tallying whenever you're drilling. Obviously you're going to be waiting for some time, depending how fast you're drilling, how fast the ROP is. You don't just want to be standing around, right? You don't want to be that guy like, oh, look at this guy, he's just standing around, he ain't doing nothing, he's on his ass, on his phone. You don't want to be that guy, so you try to stay busy. So again, you'll be cleaning, pressure washing, you'll go to the derrick hand, and this is where it's a great opportunity for you to learn, because you can go and shadow these positions above you, like the motor man and the derrick hand or the driller, and you can go and ask them questions, see what they need help with. And again, this is going to be very beneficial to you. If these guys are going to put you to work, don't complain, because you're working extra besides the job that you're primarily you got hired to do. It's just the way it is. Sometimes these guys are going to ask for your help and make you do things, but just look at it on the positive note and know that it's going to benefit you in the end, because you're learning hands-on. Again, now that's kind of the basic gist of it. Also, you'll be doing nipple up, nipple down operations, which is basically working on the BOP. You'll trip pipe, you'll trip in and out. Basically means you'll put pipe into the hole and also take the pipe out. You'll also have to operate the ST80 if you're on a ST80 rig, or you'll have to operate the tongs. Now that's what makes an actual roughneck. If you break out on a tong rig, that's gonna turn you into a man, in my opinion. But again, this is better for you because you are exposed to different scenarios, different rig equipment. And again, that's old school. That's becoming old school rigs with the tong, and they're a little bit more dangerous, of course. But with the ST80, it's a little bit slower, more boring, but it's all up to you. And those are the basic things that a floor hand does. Now, the next position above the floor hand is a motorman. Now, the motorman's in charge of his generators. The generators is what outputs power to the whole rig for it to run properly. They're in charge of the gens, maintenance on the gens, as far as oil changes, changes on the fuel filter, oil filter, things of that nature. Also, they're in charge of forklift operations. That's another big thing for a motorman. You're basically going to be assisting the rig manager, the driller, or at times even the company man. They want you to move things around, get the rig location looking nice and pretty. So they want you to be, picking up items, moving items. So yeah, a big portion of the motorman is to have good forklift skills in order to move things around while drilling operations. Now, it gets a lot more intense when you're doing rig move, because the forklift is used a lot during rig move to disassemble parts of the rig and to move them to a location where it's not going to disturb while you continue to break down the rig inventory. They're basically the backbone of the rig. These guys make sure that any equipment that's broken, needs to be broken, gets taken care of or gets notified to the pusher, so that he can push tools, which is what he's there for. Push tools to get brought to the rig. Motorman's in charge of the inventory, taking it out and placing it where it needs to be. We need pipe dope for the floor hands. So he's in charge of making sure that there's enough pipe dope for the floor hands. And sometimes, he doesn't catch everything. That's where everybody works together as a unit. Floor hands, of course, obviously you use pipe dope all the time. You guys are the ones in charge of that. So if you know that there's a couple cans of pipe dope, go ahead and let your motorman know. He's your next person up ahead of you. So let him know, hey, we're missing some pipe dope. And he can take further action and tell the pusher. Or if you want to take that initiative, you can tell the pusher yourself. And that's what they see, where you have great skills to be a leader. So just things of that nature. The motorman's in charge of inventory, tools, any equipment that you might need on the rig. Motorman's in charge of making sure that everything works and runs properly and is up to par and up to date with the rig itself and the equipment. Above the motorman is your derrick hand. Now, the derrick hand is in charge of going up to the derrick and transferring over to the monkey board to trip out pipe or trip in. Now, what that means is he basically is strapped 100% up on the monkey board. When the pipe gets picked up and broken, he basically pulls that pipe back. Now, he's got a rope that he uses. He uses a rope, throws it to the pipe, grabs it with one hand, opens the elevators, and he just pulls that motherfucker back. So he's in charge of tripping pipe. That's the main thing he's in charge of when he's on the monkey board. Now, when he's on the rig floor, he'll work the floor, but only when it comes down to PHA. When he comes down after tripping pipe, he'll come down, take a little break, get some water. Then he'll help out his guys break PHA, get everything ready. Oh, again, that's another thing that floor hands do. They're in charge of PHA. When the derrick hand's not on the rig floor or the monkey board, he's at the pits, which is his main area that he needs to be. So again, floor hands mainly on the rig floor. Motormen are everywhere. They're walking the rig, making sure everything looks good, and they're driving around everywhere with the forklift. Derrick hand, he's at his pits. He stays on top of his tanks to make sure that there's no spills, no leaks, making sure that the fluid is good, the mud weight is proper, it has the right chemicals and the right additives to have the proper viscosity and the proper mud weight that the mud engineer wants. Also, he's in charge of the shakers. He needs to make sure that his shakers are working properly, they function well, there's no holes on the shaker screens, they're properly cleaned out. Also, the derrick man is in charge of the mud pumps. Now, the mud pumps, you can think of them as the heart of a human. Now, the heart pumps blood, right? It's pumping pumps blood all into our veins. And that's the same thing that these mud pumps do. They pump the drilling fluid downhole, kind of like our veins. So that's the main function of the mud pump. So he needs to make sure that there's no leaks on the mud pumps, that there's no blowouts on the swabs or liners or anything like that. And he has to do proper maintenance on them as well. Now, he's also in charge of frac tanks, hold a lot of drilling fluids or water, depends whatever you put in them. But he's in charge of making sure that they don't overflow, making sure there's no leaks. Again, he's also in charge of his transfer pumps, or his trash pumps, discharge pumps, whatever you want to call them. He's also in charge of those, making sure they're running properly in order to transfer mud at any given point in time. That's basically the gist of the derrick man. Now, above the derrick can, which is the head honcho of his crew, is a driller. Now, the driller stays on the driller's cabin, typically most of his shift for 12 hours. Now, he's in charge of running the rig. He's got these screens in front of him. He's making sure that all his screens and his numbers look good so that his rig crew and himself are safe. He's in charge of working the top drive. He works it up and down with the stick. He's also in charge of keeping his crew in order to make sure that whatever tasks need to be done that are required by the company man or the pusher, he gets that done, or himself personally. Every driller is different. Some drillers are real big on cleaning. Other drillers are real big on maintenance. Other drillers are real big on just making sure you stay busy. They don't care what you do, you just stay busy. So depending on what he likes, how he likes to run his crew, he's also in charge of making sure that the rig that he's on, well, knowledgeable on it, because again, when you do rig moves or any operation, you got to be on top of your game and know what's the next step and how to plan ahead and how to work your guys and how to assist them in case they have questions. They'll come to you, and you got to kind of have the answer to it. Like, you got to kind of have the answer to these guys to make sure that they become more knowledgeable and y'all become a better crew, a better unit together. That's about it for a driller. Now, above the driller, which is he's in charge of the whole rig and the crew themselves, is the tool pusher. Now, the rig manager stays in his trailer. He's got a trailer all to himself, right? On one side of the trailer, he's got his little desk, his little office, where he spends most of his 12 hours working. And depending on the company, sometimes there's a day pusher and sometimes there's a night pusher. But it all depends. If you work your 12 hours, you work your 12 hours and you're typically in that office. Then you go to sleep the next 12 hours. They're in front of the computer. They're making sure their inventory is right and accurate for the rig. They make sure that the rig is running properly no matter what operation is occurring. They make sure that everything's running properly. You make your rounds. You come out, a good pusher, actually in my opinion, a good pusher comes out, makes his rounds, and looks at the rig himself, how he likes the rig to look or to run. Again, the driller has his way of running things, but so does a pusher. The pusher will tell the driller, hey, we need this cleaned, hey, we need to get this fixed. So that's what makes a good pusher, in my opinion. A pusher that actually comes out, looks at the rig, talks to his hands, make sure they're good, they don't need anything, and they try to help them out, make their job easier. If the guys require certain tools, etc., the pushers will try and push it. Again, that's what they're called, pushers. They'll try and push the tools, call the office, make sure that they can get these tools or this equipment out to the guys to make their job a little bit easier. They're also in charge of phone meetings. They'll get a lot of phone calls throughout the day by their superiors. They got to make sure that they're able to answer to them and make sure that everything's running smoothly. They also work hand in hand with the company man, make sure that the operations are being run safely. They also have to know the rig fairly well, actually exceptionally well, and how things work, honestly, how to fix things as well, because the motorman might not be able to fix things, so the pusher might is gonna have to have a lot of experience. If you'd like to know a little bit more about the positions, or if I'm missing something, you know, just comment down below. You know, I'd like to get y'all's feedback, and you know, I'll respond the best way I can and make other videos in the future. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.